Are you concerned this lends itself at all to further divisiveness?
No, I mean, again, this is a group that has been in place for many, many years. We celebrate all kinds of connection and identity and culture and heritage in the city. We want to be a city where everyone's identity is embraced and that there are spaces and communities that we can help support.
Uh-huh.
Well, if you want to make sure that everybody's identity is embraced, except for your fellow coworkers who are white.
Yeah. The contradiction. I don't know why she's doubling down.
Not to mention the fact
she's doubling down.
What'd you do with your husband? Did you just stuff him in a closet all night? Like,
maybe he was the cook. He was out of sight.
Did you just put him in a back room or what?
He was washing the dishes in the back. That brings us to a little bit of political discussions as well. What in the world is the Biden administration doing here with this?
No, sir, it's the Biden administration.
Do we need to go there? Somebody said, do we need to go there again? We kind of do. All right, let's take a look.
There's nothing quite like Christmas at the White House. From Winston Churchill spending his Christmas with the Roosevelts in the midst of war, to Jackie Kennedy being the first lady to decorate the halls with nutcracker ornaments and twinkling lights. But who can forget Barney Cam?
Everybody's looking for you, and you're supposed to be working. Here you are playing. I know you've been out here a long time because you've got snow everywhere.
Nancy Reagan famously brought Mr. T to the White House for Christmas.
Yeah.
In Santa suit with his signature.
I remember that.
Melania Trump decked all.
I remember Mr. T in the White House. Don't do drugs, fool.
Oh my Lord! Yeah. Well, wait till you see the spin that he puts on that.
The halls with glam and some dancing ballerinas. And the media called that Melania's White Christmas. But this year, Jill Biden did what Bidens do. She plagiarized, recreating the nutcracker scene, but with a twist.
What's going on?
Oh,
Joe Biden is on something else, boy. Do you remember when the guy said, what did he say? All right, I got the quote. Thank God for Twitter. Let me pull it up. He said, oh boy, there he is. We need to restore honor and decency to the White House. Oh, you have, buddy.
This looks like a bad acid trip. I think somebody did acid when they were trying to put this all together.
I say a bad acid trip. So
at least they labeled it right.
With the picture? Somebody might ask. What is so wrong with the picture? Somebody might ask, what is so wrong with the picture? Wait till you hear what kind of people he brought. It's more than just the imagery here, the colors and the.
I'm pretty sure the one dancing in the fufu outfit that started this whole thing isn't a woman.
You're probably right about that, and I don't even know anymore. I don't even think that. I'm not sure how much of it matters because it seems like they all is nobody knows what a woman is. Okay, is who you identify as. Okay, and you're not a biologist, so you can't even have that opinion. So, if I may say, but you see, he's gonna break it down. You're gonna break it down because he's gonna tell you what the Biden is doing here.
Now, Akilah says she's scared, but as a patron of the ballet, I found it quite enchanting. But not everybody agrees. Some say it looks like the White House switched from cocaine to acid. Others say it looks like the Hunger Games or Clockwork.
Called it.
Darth Vader, you're good. You're good. That's why I have you on this channel.
But just for the record, I haven't seen this video yet.
Not even close.
From cocaine to acid. Others say it looks like the Hunger Games or Clockwork Orange. But it's a perfect symbol for the Biden presidency. People spin and tap dance while Joe doesn't appear on camera. They called Melania's Christmas an all-white Christmas. That would make Jill's Christmas an anti-white Christmas because the dancing group, Dorrance Dance, supports critical race theory, Black Lives Matter, the Black Panthers, Malcolm X, and the 1619 Project. Oh, and they also want to abolish ICE, abolish prisons, and defund the police. Oh, here is the president of Dorrance.
There you have it. So didn't they take the time to do their homework, or they just don't care?
I think they're actually doing it on purpose at this point.
I think so too. Hey, he's restoring decency. Remember that? Yep.
And by
Let's keep going.
decency, they mean communism.
Dorrance Dance. She's obviously a white liberal woman. Michelle Dorrance says, quote, "It is from this place of white privilege that I invite you to join me in lifelong anti-racism work. Understanding how deeply embedded white supremacy, racism, and colonial is in our culture is paramount to understanding our role as white people in perpetuating it and embracing our job to dismantle it." Do you think the White House vetted this anti-racist dancer and prancer? Ducey's going to ask Binder tomorrow, don't worry. But there's another Michelle who wants an anti-white Christmas. Michelle Wu, the Boston mayor. She's Asian, but if you're white, you're not invited to her Christmas party. Earlier this week, a staffer with pronouns in her name, so glad I needed to know, sent an invitation to the city council members in Boston. Quote, "On behalf of Mayor Michelle Wu, I cordially invite you to the Electeds of Color holiday party," meaning only elected officials of color were allowed. But Michelle Wu made a mistake. She didn't mean to invite everybody. The email went out to everybody, whites included. 15 minutes later, the staffer said, "Oops, sorry, whites, you can't come. This is a non-white party. You're not welcome to the..."
This is what I've said earlier. Progressivism is regressivism in disguise. But I think I should get rid of the word disguise. They're no longer disguising
They're
it.
not disguising it anymore. It's like, do we not see that we're going backwards?
Yes, we are. We're going backward. So when you hear diversity, they promote diversity, but it's like diversity at the exclusion of whites. But it's kind of like, it's not diverse if whites are not part of to me, it's like, how is it diverse when you say so-and-so can be a part of this and that?
Michael nailed it. You want to abolish racism? Ignore it. We're U.S. citizens, nothing else, nothing
That's
more,
it.
nothing less.
That's it. And I think she should be dealt with.
And,
So these people are invited.
Erica,
These people are uninvited.
Erica's dropping some knowledge, and she's married to a white guy on her home.
Yeah.
Must be
Their
fun.
That's a good point. You know, there's a lot of people that are criticizing, like, talk about like racism. For example, who was it who got fired from CNN? Don Lemon. He's married to a white man. Kamala Harris, she's married to a white man.
Mm-hmm.
AOC, she's married to a white man.
Hmm.
I'm wondering, like, what's up with this pattern? And this is not to say you can't marry whoever you love, but I'm trying to say is that, like, you're saying white people is the worst thing in the world. Do you actually really believe that while you're marrying them? Then, and I'm not saying you can't. What I'm saying is, it seems to me there's a level of hypocrisy here.
Why don't
I
you
think
put
love
your
is
money where
love.
your mouth is?
Love doesn't have a color from my perspective. You love whoever you love, right? But put your money where your mouth is. If you really believe white people are the problem, well, don't even start families with them, right?
Yeah.
if you really believe that, I'm not advocating for it. I'm just saying, for me, I don't care.
No,
My family is mixed.
I don't care
I don't
either.
care.
You
I have a
know,
half white son. I don't care. None of that matters to me.
That's perfectly fine
It
as
doesn't
far as
matter.
I'm concerned. But you know what? If you think it's so bad, why you even bothering looking at him as a potential partner?
Yeah, that's my question. It's either you don't believe, or you're virtue signaling, or you're just saying this for political reasons, or you just want to divide the country because you don't really believe white people are that bad of an issue.
Yeah.
I don't think they actually do.
No.
Because you're laying next to one at night. I know what they will say.
night.
Well, he's not. He's different. He's a liberal. He's not a white supremacist. He's fighting racism. He's not for racism.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's just a farce. You
Mhm.
lying. You're lying. So why would you uninvite these people? What did they do? Beside the color of their skin, what's wrong with their character that you felt the need not to include them in the party?
Did they treat you differently? Did they do something to you? What? Like what caused you to have to uninvite them?
Unless you are a racist.
There's a thought.
Eggnog. So 7 white Boston City Council members were uninvited. We call them the uninvited whites. Except there was a white invited. Michelle Wu's husband's white. What was the elected of color's Christmas party +1 policy? We're not sure. Primetime's investigating. We'll have more on that tomorrow. But sure, it's racist. The mayor has an excuse.
I think we've had individual conversations with everyone so people understand that it was truly just an honest mistake that went out in typing the email field. And I look forward to celebrating with everyone at the holiday parties that we will have besides this one as well. So it is my intention that we can, again, be a city that lives our values and create space for all kinds of communities to come together.
Wait a second. The black city council members get 2 Christmas parties, and white city council members only get to go to 1? So Wu is pro-segregation, but there was a typo, so no one was supposed to know. The honest mistake was the typo, not the racially segregated party, you see. Did Jesus have 3 white wise men out in the cold while 3 brown wise men huddled up in the manger?
Are you concerned this lends itself at all to further divisiveness?
No, I mean, again, this is a group that has been in place for many, many years. We celebrate all kinds of connection and identity and culture and heritage in the city. We want to be a city where everyone's identity is embraced and that there are spaces and communities that we can help support.
Well, if you want to make sure that everybody's identity is embraced, except for your fellow co-workers who are white.
Yeah. The contradiction. I don't know why she's doubling down.
Not to mention the fact
she's doubling down.
What'd you do with your husband? Did you just stuff him in a closet all night? Like,
maybe it was the cook. It was out of sight.
Did you just put him in a back room or what?
He was washing the dishes in the back.
I'm genuinely curious now. Like, I want to know, because supposedly this is supposed to be a safe space for all people of color and everything, but yet her white husband's there. Isn't he a threat to their party? Ooh. The white boogeyman is here.
Why? You noticing my hypocrisy here, but stop questioning our hypocrisy.
Gotta stuff him away. Get him out of here.
Yeah. So everybody's identity should be celebrated. I have an issue with that. Because a lot of stuff people call identity today, it could be just about anything. And some things you might end up celebrating the wrong thing. Sometime you might end up celebrating the wrong thing. And okay, well, let's just go with that statement. If everybody's identity should be celebrated, I want white people identity to be celebrated as well.
We don't want a day. That's just it. Nobody needs a day, a month, or whatever. Just stop with all this celebrating on nonsense.
No, nobody cares. It's just that the fact you use skin color as your primary reason why they could not be invited is the problem. Like you could simply say this was being done to acknowledge, the success and as Black people, what they've achieved. That's fine. But if you say those people can't come because they're all white, that's the problem.
That makes it racist.
That makes it racist because you are automatically applying a particular label to them by doing that, but simply by the virtue of their skin color. You just can't do that. If you look at a person's skin color and you determine something about them without first getting to know the individual, without first questioning them, being friend with them, you automatically apply a label. Then you are the real racist in the room here, and that to me is the problem.
Especially when you bring one with you. Now you're a hypocrite.
But I guess hers is not. So maybe by bringing hers with her, she's also saying that the rest of them are not like mine.
Yeah. Look, I have my pet white boy.
I told you he's in the back room washing dishes, so he's not involved. He's there, but he's not there. All right.
Look, I can make him beg for treats.
This is wild. That's just crazy, man. This is segregation at its finest, period. There's no question about that. Yeah.
Sounds like a Confederate. Guys,
and communities that we can help support.
Wu sounds like a Confederate. Guys, the system's been in place for many, many years. And did she say banning whites from Christmas parties is something she celebrates? And if we embrace everyone's identity, what time should the uninvited whites show up to the whites-only Christmas party? 7-ish? No one's ever mistaken me for a constitutional scholar, but we banned separate but equal in the 50s. Wu broke the law. Who? Wu. Massachusetts state law prohibits making any distinction, discrimination, or restriction in admission to or treatment in a place of public accommodation based on race. Now, Wu says the anti-white Christmas party wasn't taxpayer funded, but the city had the party at a city building and used city funds. That's what taxpayer funded means, Wu. And look what we have here. That's the district attorney arriving at the illegal anti-white Christmas party. DA Kevin Hayden's going to have to prosecute. I'd like to call myself as a witness. There were no whites at the party. Everybody was dancing to the beat. And who's the woman? She doesn't look very proud showing up at an anti-white Christmas party, or maybe she's Kevin's +1 and she's married. We don't know. The uninvited whites missed a huge opportunity, though. They should have showed up to the anti-white party, drank the punch, and if the electeds of color tried to kick them out, you stage a sit-in. It would have gone down as one of the greatest civil rights protests in modern American history. Because I was always taught that segregation was bad. Now Democrats say segregation is inclusive. They told us people of color are marginalized. Now it turns out people of color prefer to be marginalized. They told us society should be colorblind. Now we're told society should be color-coded. We were told discrimination was bad. And now apparently discrimination against whites is good. We were told diversity is a strength, except right around the holidays. What's next, Wu? Separate water fountains? Because this country lost 600,000 men in the Civil War. Did those men die so that Wu can have anti-white Christmas? It's not Trump who wants to turn this country back to the 50s. It's the Democrats.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have to add anything to that. It's powerful.
The one thing I have to add to that is I have to disagree with Jesse about them going in and drinking the Kool-Aid.
Why?
Because they do that, they might turn out to be like the rest of them.
Good point. But that's only if they go with the intention of protesting. I think that's what he's trying to say.
Don't drink the Kool-Aid.
Well, you don't want to drink the Kool-Aid. Go there with your own drink, because I'm telling you, there's conversion to this woke ideology. People get converted through it. It's complete. It's a religion. It really is. You get converted. You go there and you sit there. I think by sitting there too, there's a risk, because you can sit there and start looking at, oh, that is true. You know, I see why white people shouldn't be included. And
it's a mind virus.
It is. It's a mind virus, and I think you should escape that by any means, man.
I was watching a video the other day where they were going through an entire Reddit page of people like, oh, thank you for saving me from the red pill and blah, 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 blah. And it's like, one after another, and it's like, you people
red
are
pill.
so stupid.
Completely regressivism.
Basically, the idea is you have if you've ever seen The Matrix, where Morpheus offers Neo
The red or the
the
blue pill.
red or the blue pill. The blue
Mhm.
pill, he stays asleep and stays in the Matrix. The red pill, he wakes up and comes into reality.
Mhm.
That's the idea.
Yeah.
Where you take the red pill, you wake up to the truth of the matter, and you wake
Mhm.
up to the reality and see things for what they are.
Yeah. Yeah.
And these people are like, "Oh, I thank you. I got saved from being red pill." Blah blah
Yeah.
blah blah. It's like, oh my word, you idiots!
It's the other way around.
Yeah,
But they don't seem to realize it at this moment. And again, I guess that's the power of the blue pill, because it does make you feel like you're a part of a movement for positive change. So you get this conception. It's a false foundation. It's a false theory. But you get the sense that you are fighting against something.
it's the house built on sand.
Yeah. But exactly you're fighting against, the enemy you're fighting against is actually the enemy you are working for. But you get the sense
you know
that
what I'm
I'm
saying?
fighting against something that is really, really bad. So that's kind of the reason why they feel the need to keep fighting. But instead you're being manipulated, you're being used. So
Yeah.
that's the danger of the thing.
And Louis, we've actually covered that there is a time and place for doing such thing in a righteous manner. It's not so much judging people as pointing out, look, you're not acting in accordance with the law of the Lord, and you need to change your ways and get back right with the Lord.
Yeah, Louis, I agree with you. I don't believe in judging people. I agree with you in part. Actually, judging people. I had a whole sermon about this, trying to explain what the difference is. People don't understand that.
Yeah.
Right. When you say judging people, what do you mean by that? Like, are you talking about judging to the point where you condemn them to hell, or do you judge to examine right and wrong? When you see your children doing something, do you judge them? If my son slaps somebody, should I judge him? If my daughter chooses to do something wrong, should I judge her, or should I say I can't judge them? It's just people. I just leave them alone. What I'm trying to say is, I think there's a very dangerous precedence in that mindset, because it's the scripture in Matthew chapter 7 verse 1, when people talk about, like, judge not that you be not judged, for with the same measure you made, it shall be judged, it shall be made with you again. It's like, yeah, it's because you are supposed to judge with the right conception in mind, with the right attitude, and you're not supposed to be a hypocrite when you're judging people.
And with the right heart.
With the right heart. You don't go judging people in a sense to condemn. But do we judge? Yes, we do judge. We do it naturally. You see a lady walking in a mini skirt. You make a decision as soon as you see that, whether or not she's a good girl or she's a bad girl. You see a man with his pants sagging. He looks like a gangster and a thug. You better judge, because sometimes he might be a gangster and a thug who's about to commit robbery. Maybe you should hop in the car and leave. If you don't judge ever, you will end up becoming somebody, who knows, you're going to end up in the wrong place, wrong time. And sometimes you're not going to make any decisions that could stop you from, I make a lot of judgments sometimes. And some of them are good judgments. Some of them are not so good. But I will say, be careful how you interpret the idea we shouldn't judge people, because judging in itself is not the problem. It's how you go about doing it, the attitude, the nature, the motive, the perspective, and stuff like that. You have to be careful about that.
No, Michael, this is when this has all started. This is when Obama got into office. That's when all of this started. This whole segregation and separation and pitting racism back into the mainstream again. When Obama got into office, that's when all of this blew up. That's when BLM came up and all this other stuff. And